Yeah, hi everyone. Okay, I promise you, I did not wake up well. Bum bum bum. I did not wake up well. He happened to wake up as I was writing in the Discord. I swear, I promise you, I would not have done it. Okay, I would have done it, but not. Oops. No. What happened? Uh, what happened was that I wrote in the Discord and then he woke up and I was like, hey, do you want to keep sleeping? I said, do you want to keep sleeping? And he's like, no, I should probably do a short stream. I said, are you sure? And he's live now. Okay. All right. Okay. So he's like, yeah, I should do a short stream. I got to do a sponsor tomorrow. So I did not wake him up. I am not an asshole like that. Ah! How did my city treat you? Dude, I was there for like 24 hours. I've been to New Orleans a lot. Graham, let me tell you though, there was so there were so many armored police vehicles, police presence. I had my bag searched walking through the quarter. Like there was a lot of security. It was intense. My best friend who lives there was like, yeah, I think after the terrorist attack, New Orleans has been worried about their reputation. And of course, you know, they have the Super Bowl this weekend. So they just have gone all out. Do you need the link to the slideshow? I have the link to the slideshow. Don't worry. But yeah, I love New Orleans. I've always had a special place in my heart for New Orleans. I've been there quite a few times. It was a bummer that I was really in and out. I don't think that I could have stayed any longer though. I am tired. I am beat. I am finally feeling exhausted. Exhausted. You know what I will say though about having that much security? Sometimes it will do the opposite effect of making people feel not safe, where you're like, is something, you know, people be like, is something going on? Like when your bags are searched everywhere you go, when there's all these metal detectors everywhere, when there's just like armored police vehicles all all around the streets cutting off access to the quarter. Yeah, so sometimes it can feel um sometimes it can have the opposite effect. Did you see Azalea Banks cook J.K. Rowling? I didn't, but honestly, I'm done with her. There is no redemption for Azalea Banks anymore. She used to be one of my problematic faves. And then after her comments on Gaza, it finally was to a point that I was like, you know what? No, it's fuck Azalea Banks. Nah, it's fuck Azalea Banks. I don't care if she, I don't care if she like has an Azalea Banks moment where she's not being just a heinous, awful bitch. It's no longer like she's my problematic fave. You know, like I am done. I am done with Azalea Banks. Fucking thank you. She's the worst. It's not cute. Yeah, like after her being at the Trump rallies, being all MAGA, saying those horrible horrible things about Palestinians in Gaza. It's like you're not cute. Probably best you're in for a short time. Your immune system's weak from all the travel. Nola sickos will mess you up. Yeah, yeah. And Will came back was like not feeling well. So we left at like 6 in the morning this morning, so it was really in and out. Also, she didn't really cook JK. She complimented her a lot while saying her transphobia is because she's insecure. Yeah, see, It's not even worth it to. Only reason Azalea went after her is because she was being dropped from a festival for being transphobic. Like, Azalea has been transphobic and homophobic. She is not an ally. Like, she is horrible. She is not an ally. She does not care. And I am very, very done with her. I think a lot of people are very over Azalea Banks. Anyway, let me think. Resubs. Camtram, thank you for the 17 months. Cress Vox, thank you for the 3. Sean, thank you for the 16. Chuck, thank you for the 23. Shoko Superior, thank you for the 11 months. Goblin, thank you for the 13. Soul Boot, thank you for the 9. Benjamin, thank you for the gifted. Madeline, thank you for the 18. It is the Madden Gamer of the Year, everybody. Goosies, thank you for the 15. Hexing, thank you for the 16. And everybody who served yesterday when I was in New Orleans. I always think of this tweet. Azalea Banks is schizophrenic until she's on my side, and then I agree. Yeah, and it's no longer like I give any props to Azalea Banks whatsoever. I'm just not even paying attention to her anymore. I'm like, nope. You know, guys, here's what I have to say, okay? Stranded Shiro, thank you for the 5 months. Hog Chucker, thank you for the 8 months. Lush, thank you for the 17 months. That's what I had to say. No, here's what I have to say. I feel like it gets to a point where we got to stop giving people attention. You know what I mean? Like, Azalea Banks gets a lot of attention, and it's what she's always thrived on and why she is the way that she is. And you get to a point where you're like, what if we just ignored you? What if we let you fade into obscurity? It's not like Azalea Banks puts out music. It's not like she's in the conversation for anything other than her Instagram posts or her tweets. You know, she's just an internet troll. And there's a couple other people that I think could fall into this category of maybe it's time that we just ignore them. Let them scream online. Let them continue to fade into nothing. Let them embarrass themselves. You know, you just take the gray rock method. You take the gray rock method where you just deny people a response. You know, it's like, okay, all of this has been addressed. So now at this point, it just continues to be a back and forth, right? Where you say something and then we respond, and then it just keeps yo-yoing. And yeah, stop gathering around the person yelling in the town square. Exactly, because if you don't gather around them, then they have nothing. They have nothing. So yeah, there are quite a few people that this can apply to, where it has gotten to a point that I do not believe there's any value in giving any attention. And it's what they are looking for, you know? Like they want to, they're inflammatory. They're inflammatory on purpose because they want to get a rise. They want a response. Oh, Mr. Austin show. Austin, how does it feel now that Christian is streaming? Austin's like, I'm going to stream every day now. Obviously, I'm not talking about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is the fucking president. Okay, this isn't something where I'm like, if we just ignore Donald Trump, Donald Trump is the president. He has a lot of power. It's not I'm not saying this about the president of the United States, where it's like, you know what, guys, if we just ignore him, Christian has already streamed more than Austin has this year. So twice. I help him when I can and then ignore him. Okay. He's going for affiliate. Let's fucking go. Let's go. He's going to speed run partner. He is going to speed run partner, and so fast our heads are going to spin. Austin bullied Christian in the chat by calling him a pussy. You're already being a bad chatter. Austin, you're going to get banned. I'm going to be a mod in Christian's chat. And you might get banned if you keep it up. He's very locked in. I'm proud of my friend. Yeah, we do love to support our friends. We do. We got to support our friends in life. That's what it's all about. Dolly, thank you for the 3 months. Theo, thank you for the gifted. He does not need to be toughened up. No. The internet is a kind place. The internet is a kind, wonderful place. There is no need to toughen up, anything like that. It's really such a welcoming place. And surely, as he continues on this journey, it will be filled with just the bestest people. You have no idea what it was like making this presentation. I had to update every day because things kept happening. Yes. Okay. So you guys, we are finally going to cover KARLA SOFIA GASCON tonight because there is shit that has happened every single day for the last 2 weeks. Like every time I'm like, oh, another day that I haven't covered the KARLA SOFIA GASCON stuff. There is more. There is more. Every day. It just keeps, it's been one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, if I don't cover this the next time I stream, I will, like, it's too much. No, it's not. But it got to a point that I was like, I have to cover this. Also, here's the link for overall controversy recap in case you forgot or want it. Well, Ashley has, this is the Kayla Says video. Do you know what's crazy is like, okay, I need to be better. I need to be better about my YouTube. And this is on me, not my editor, because I covered Amelia Perez very early on before there were a bunch of videos like why Amelia Perez is the worst movie this year, why Amelia Perez is like the villain this year. I'm like, I need to be putting those out early because now it's like you Google Amelia Perez and there's so many videos on Amelia Perez that like a lot of people watched the movie now and were like, oh yeah, no, it's horrible. Like, let me just say this first and foremost, okay? Amelia Perez shouldn't lose because KARLA SOFIA GASCON is comically racist. Amelia Perez should lose because it's a bad fucking movie. Because it is offensively bad. That is why Amelia Perez should not win a single Oscar. Let me just be so clear about that. This isn't a like, oh my God, an amazing movie, but the star of the film is a piece of shit. No. Let's not get it twisted, everybody. It should lose because it's Dookie. Yes. Caroline hated Amelia Perez before it was cool. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because what happens sometimes is like when people find out that something is like a lot of people hate something, you know, that there's a lot of drama around it, they will then watch it. So a lot of people have probably watched Amelia Perez in the last couple of weeks. It's a hilarious bit considering Audiard low-key has been making nothing but great movies for a decade and a half. This is all anyone knows from him. You're right, that a lot of people don't know Jacques Audiard outside of Amelia Perez. It's the worst movie I've seen not named Skinamarink. How about this? It's the worst movie you've seen that's gotten 13 Oscar nominations. Skinamarink wasn't even going to come close. How it received more noms than Sing Sing is beyond me. How Sing Sing wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Like, this is why I love the Oscars and I fucking hate them, okay? I will always be the first to say fuck the Oscars, even as I obsessively follow the Oscars. Sing Sing was so good. I mean, it's one of my faves of the year. Did you watch Nickel Boys yet? Like how Nickel Boys was totally ignored in cinematography of all categories is like fuck the Oscars again. I'm also cooking something up for overall controversies this year. Just you wait. Yeah. Okay. So okay. We did Nickel Boys and Sing Sing back to back. It was a heavy but beautiful night. Yeah, that's a gorgeous mix, but also a lot of tears. Atakemi, thank you for the 19 months. Missed the Japan streams because they were too late for me, but glad you're back. I am. C Knight, thank you for the 13 months. Dolly, thank you. Do you think the Oscars is going to suck even harder to balance out the Grammys being better than normal? You know, what I was going to say is there have been a lot of Oscars controversies throughout the years, many of which I have covered and that I repeatedly, reference. But this is something new. Let's just say that, okay? This is it kind of in a league of its own as far as controversies go, and it's crazy. It's crazy because Amelia Perez has been dominating, right? Like this is not just a film. This is not just like one of the films this year that got a couple noms, has stirred up some conversation and then has had this drama around it. This has been like the leading film. And prior to KARLA SOFIA GASCON's tweets being revealed, this film already was controversial. This film already was getting people fired up. Do you think there will ever be another night like Parasite or Everything Ever All at Once? Well, according to KARLA SOFIA GASCON, there shouldn't be. Oh my God. The Afro-Korean Festival, get out of here. And by that, films with black people and with Asian people, be gone. No, thank you. I don't know if anyone has seen Mexico's short film response to Amelia Perez. It's really funny. I definitely recommend. It's called Johann Sacre Bleu. That's great. Okay, so before we get into finally covering that, let me just touch base with you guys. Let me kick off the stream here. So I am finally back and the travel is over for now. We spent 2 weeks in Japan, came back for a day, left and went to New Orleans, raised money for charity through Twitch Rivals, where Sam and I were partnered up with Rams player Puka Nakua, who has invited Sam and I to a Rams game. He said he'd really like for us to go. So let me know, maybe going to a Rams game in the future. Because we were like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, we would love to go. And then I did a stream yesterday with Sam where we went and got beignets. And then last night Sam wanted to go back to Cafe Du Monde. So we went to Cafe Du Monde twice yesterday. So after the event, there was a dinner, and I met up with my best friend who lives in New Orleans, and it was kind of like worlds colliding, where I was like, this is Sam, this is Teresa, and that was super fun. And then Sam was like, I really want to go back and get the beignets, because she felt like she couldn't fully appreciate it in the morning, and she also was like, I don't love sweets in the morning. So we went back to Cafe Du Monde at nighttime, and I was like, do you just want to run it back and get 3 beignets, one for each of us? She's like, no, I want like 2 or 3. I was like, okay. All right, let's fuck it up. And then I left this morning from New Orleans at 6:15, real early morning flight. Also, I don't know if we mentioned this on stream yesterday, but outside of our hotel was a clock tower. So the last 2 nights that I spent in New Orleans was accompanied by a clock tower that went off every hour, because that's what they do. And it was right outside our hotel. So that was very fun. That was great. Even at night. Oh, midnight, we got 12 gongs. Dong, dong. Yeah, no, it was not fun. That was /S/sarcasm. Yeah, so got back this morning, died. Okay, fell asleep, was dead to the world. Absolutely dead to the world. Then we got Farley back. I think Farley's a little hesitant. I think he's like not sure if he can trust us being home, which I totally get. My manager, who was watching Farley while we were in New Orleans, said that he was dominating his dog, and Farley is not a dominant dog. He's very submissive. But I think for the last 2 weeks, Farley has been dominated. I think he had enough. I think he crashed out. He had enough. So he's like, okay. Yeah, I'm taking my power back. I'm in charge now. He's done. Yeah, he was taking a stand. I know, poor baby. Farley had an Anna level crash out. Yeah. Let me just say something on that too, okay? I'm just gonna make a comment on that. I would actually like to personally thank the Young Turks. I'd like to personally thank Jank and Anna, because if they hadn't fucked over Hassan and also Will, then I don't think I would be here. So really, it was the best thing that they could have done. So I want to say thank you. And that is because it led to Hassan streaming on Twitch, and then him telling Will to stream on Twitch. And then a few years later, I ended up streaming on Twitch. Yeah, if you don't know, Will made the breakdown with Hassan. So Will used to work at the Young Turks. He did. Yep. So that is what I would like to say on that. And I have seen them all over the internet. It's quite embarrassing, but it's also what happens when your business is not what it used to be. And so that is why you are seeing what you have seen, not even just now, but the last couple years, I would say. And yes, it is. There are a lot of people, I will just say this, there are a lot of people who are really embarrassing themselves online for free. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I will say this too. I knew that Anna officially sucked ass when one of my family members who sucks ass messaged me and was like praising Anna. I was like, I didn't used to like them, but I've really been loving what Anna Kasparian has to say lately. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. That makes sense because you're also deeply transphobic. And it's one reason why I want nothing to do with you anymore. At least get paid by Peter Thiel if you're going to do a right-wing grift. They're probably trying. Hopefully they can get his phone number or something. What number, Quan? It's not a Quan. Nope, not a Quan. No. Not a Quan. This is what happens, though, when you have big families, is inevitably you will have shitty family members. So, one thing the last year that I have relearned, is that you do not choose family, but you can choose if you fuck with them or not, is what I will say. Okay? You do not choose the family that you are related to, but you sure as hell can choose if you fuck with them or not. You can have a small ass family, they still suck. Yeah, I just mean like more family members equals more shitty family. Just by size. Just by size. Yeah. You are stuck with them though? No, you're not. No, you're not. It's called bye. I would like to never talk to you again and have nothing to do with you ever again. Because I think that you are not a good person. And I'm not interested in having that in my life. So no, you're not stuck with them. Now, let me be clear. Okay, yes. Maybe if you're young and live obviously there are exceptions. I get it. Yes, there are obviously exceptions. I know it's an easier said than done in many cases. I want to be sensitive about that. I get it. I understand that, like, if you're a young trans kid and you have no options because you are living at home, you're like 15 years old, I get it. It's not as easy to just cut the family off. But I more so mean that we have changing attitudes around family where, like in my family, for instance, and I have talked about this in my Irish Catholic family, there's this mentality of you can treat your family members like absolute shit. You can be abusive to them because at the end of the day, family will always be there. Blood is thicker than water. It's family. We'll get through this. We'll just bury things under the rug and continue on. And I think younger generations are really standing up to that and going, I don't think so. I do not think so. So, anyway, Michael Brooks had such a positive impact on Anna. It's been downhill for her since his passing. It's sad. It's like she has no one in her life to keep her from becoming more reactionary. I also like the last thing I will say, and then we will move on. It like it can't be said enough that you can trace Hassan's success with Cenk and Anna becoming more and more reactionary, crashing out harder and harder online. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that as he became bigger and bigger, became the biggest leftist, streamer, one of the biggest leftist voices in the world, that they have done what they've done. There is absolutely a correlation there. Anna might try to pretend now that she is not jealous of Hassan. I will tell you, as someone who has seen things that she has said via text message, she absolutely fucking is, okay? It is absolutely envy. It is, I know there's the meme of like, I made you. They don't look at that as a meme. The I made you is not a meme to them. So it is one of those where it's like, you know what? It's not even like a with peace and love type. With peace and love, but in like a rude way. With peace and love, please just find something. Find peace and love. How about that? Find peace and love, please. Please. If they had paid him for his effort, TYT probably never would have started streaming. Yeah, if they didn't try and take the IP, if they didn't try and take the breakdown format and give it to other people at TYT, then, like I said when I started this off, Hassan most likely would not have gone full-time streaming on Twitch. Will probably then would not have. And then I probably wouldn't have ended up here. So that is why I said thank you for fucking them over. Because now we're all here. There's definitely bitterness there. I hate to use that word as it's frequently used against women. I would say that for Cenk as well, though. Like it's bitterness as well. Absolutely for the both of them. But definitely apparent that she believes she's superior and feels slighted by the lack of recognition compared. Yes, 1,000%. Like it is very transparent. And the only people who will pretend otherwise are people who just despise Hassan. And so like they also hate Young Turks, but it's kind of a like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing where they'll support Anna and Cenk crashing out. So anyway, it's very, it's embarrassing to see. Sad History Grad, thank you for the 13 months. Andra Doll, thank you for the 3 months. The drama's been crazy. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of shit that's been happening online, but it's also like a continuation, you know? It's not like there's anything new that's happening. And on the one hand, I've always felt like, okay, well, if someone has a big platform, then yes, they are causing harm. Like it needs to be called out. But then you get to this point sometimes where it's like, okay, well, this is these are people who they so badly want attention. I'm not just talking about Anna and Cenk. And at a certain point, is it like, okay, maybe we just let them scream at a wall, right? Let them post on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, etc., because it's just the same things over and over again now, and you just dono wall them. You know, I mean, that's why I talked about the gray rock method. Anonymous. Thank you, darling. Thank you for the 10. So if you don't know, the gray rock method is a behavioral strategy. Rachel, thank you for the prime. Like, actually, they keep saying the same shit, and like, if you're gonna cause trauma, at least use new talking points. But there are no new talking points. There's not, it's just a regurgitation. They're pushing away their own audience. Yes, and you'll notice that people who I'm referencing in this are losing their audience because people are tired of it. They're like, this is all you are now? All right, then I'm out because this is not what I signed up for initially. And so that tells you that like they are losing. They are losing. And it's why you could just continue, they continue to get more and more riled up, and they're like, all right, well, I got to try to stir up some attention somehow. But anyway, gray rock, it's a behavioral strategy. It's how you deal with it's how you can deal with shitty people where you don't engage, and I don't know, you just kind of let them scream into the void. Imagine someone who constantly tries to provoke you into arguments. If you start gray rocking them, they might initially try to push your buttons even more with more aggressive comments, but eventually as they see they cannot get a reaction, they might stop trying to engage. Yeah, it's how you deal with narcissists. Yes. Now, there are people who will disagree with me. There are people who disagree, and they're like, no, I think all of this needs to be addressed always. That's just how I usually approach internet drama, especially, as I said, when it's just the same shit being regurgitated, and when it is by people who are just seeking the reaction and attention so that they can just, continue using that, and it is just all they have. Mokor, thank you for the tier 1. It's the playing chess with a pigeon analogy. They just shit on the board, not worth the time. Yes. Because you're never going to engage in good faith, right? There's not going to be an exchange of ideas. Like a worthwhile exchange of ideas. And I think, you call out bad behavior, and then we keep going. Works on a small scale. It's harder when the guy is president. Yeah, which is why I'm not referring to Donald Trump. Unfortunately, he is the president of the United States. So as much as I wish I could be like, I'm just ignoring you. Did you see Stephen Smith's statement supporting trans people? I did. I also saw Stephen Smith being like, I think I should run for president. I'm like, at this point, why the fuck not? Off topic, did you enjoy Cowboy Carter? I did. I'm a Cowboy Carter fan. Okay, but actually, he wouldn't become president either time. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why Trump became president. Namely, one is that the Democrats turned their backs on working class people and made it very clear that they thought they did not need working class people to win elections. And so basically left this void, and someone like Donald Trump came in and, was like the alternative. But yes, I mean, I think the way that Donald Trump was handled by the media, by the Democrats for years was Orange Man bad. Look at Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. It's like, that's not how you're going to win back working class people. I don't disagree. I'm saying that had the media and the attention been minimal for him, it would have killed him off. Yeah, I mean, I think I think there was a lot of attention on Donald Trump because he was easy content, right? Whether you were the Pod Johns or you were CNN or you were the the Democrats, that it was like they thought shitting on Donald Trump, which, Donald Trump every day, every second was like there was something new that he was saying or doing that was horrible or something from his past. But he knows how to get headlines, and he built a very strong base by positioning himself as like the outsider, that he's the guy coming in to take on the establishment. And people treated him like a joke. That's what happened. They treat him like a joke because they're like, this guy sucks. Orange man, bad. And now he's won 2 elections. The media attention was never going to be minimal for Trump. Trump's an idiot in a lot of ways, but he's been practicing his entire adult life at manipulating the media into giving him attention. Right. To say that Donald Trump doesn't know how to control media, doesn't know how to like take up all the attention, is like not knowing who Donald Trump is, right? This is the art of the deal guy. This is the guy who did the show The Apprentice. He was on TV. He is an entertainer. Donald Trump understands entertainment, and he turned his first political campaign into entertainment, and he's continued that since. Something that's been driving me particularly crazy lately are liberals that call themselves leftists. I'm not even talking about TYT here. Like, you don't get a draft off our cool ass community and ideas while holding on to some truly heinous beliefs. Yeah, I would also like to say we should be very clear in using like liberal versus progressive, because the last couple days in particular, a lot of liberals, and I'm talking like, blue checked K-Hive accounts with 200,000 followers. I'm talking like Simone Sanders, who really works for the Democratic Party, who have been doing the whole, elections have consequences. Yeah, Olivia Juliana, elections have consequences. How's it feel now, uncommitted voters? Oh, but I thought Trump was going to be better than Kamala Harris. Like, these are people who never cared about Palestine, who have always used it as a way to just show how immoral they are, how devoid of empathy that they are. It's disgusting. And I think we need to be clear that like this is not progressives who are showing how racist they are, who are showing their asses. Like, these are liberals. These are liberals with like I said, 200,000 followers who were screaming the last year at anti-war protesters, at anti-genocide protesters, who were like, K-Hive all the way, who work for the Democrats. It's gross. I mean, it is. Yeah, the meme of like guy who doesn't care about your cause telling you how to do your cause. People who never cared about Palestinians, who when the only times they talk about Gaza, the only times they talk about Palestine was during the election season, to be like, oh, so you want Donald Trump to, kill all the Palestinians? Like, good luck when Gaza's turned into a parking lot. It's like, do you not see Gaza now? Or now that Donald Trump is president, and now that he's got, he had Benjamin Netanyahu sitting with him smiling like just truly. Benjamin Netanyahu is, he is very evil, but there was something particularly sinister and particularly evil about him sitting next to Trump as Trump is talking about how destroyed Gaza is, how horrible it is, as the man who did that is sitting next to him just smirking with that red tie that just reminded me of blood. So now that, Trump is just openly saying to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip and how horrible of a place it is and blah, blah, blah. Now liberals are using this as a gotcha, which is sick, that they are smugly talking about how elections have consequences. Like, why is it always elections have consequences for voters, but not for politicians? Why are we always acting as if politicians don't have any responsibility in here? Why don't the Democrats bear any responsibility in losing this election? They lost this election. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. It is not the voters' fault. It is the Democrats' fault. They lost this election. And yet it's always elections have consequences when talking about like undocumented immigrants being ripped out of their communities. Oh, wow, you look like such a great person, by the way. You're coming across as a real awesome dude saying elections have consequences to undocumented immigrants, to Palestinian people, to people who for the last year and a half have been nonstop advocating for the safety and liberation of Palestinians. Like, okay, wow. Yeah. And you go online to be like, how's it feel now? Fuck around and find out. I think that you should be boiled in honey and then have bees set on you. How about that? Fuck around and find out is one of the most callous, disgusting things that you can say. And like, it is important to understand. Sorry, I'm just like, this is what happens when I haven't done a desktop stream in like weeks. All of the thoughts are just flowing. Everything that I've seen online, that like everything that I've thought. It is always important to understand that the context of saying fuck around and find out is about genocide. Fuck around and find out. If you ever think that you are somebody who is on the right side of things, that you have the moral high ground because you're saying fuck around and find out elections have consequences about people who are who have been enduring genocide for a year and a half. Are you fucking insane? Do you think you can gaslight us and rewrite the year and some change that Joe Biden was in office? It is his genocide. And it's crazy. It is insane to see how many people, and I don't just mean like no-name accounts online. I mean people who work for the Democrats who are acting as if suddenly they can just erase Joe Biden's last 15 months in office, where he was facilitating genocide, where there were no red lines. I just heard is that my fire alarm? Where Kamala Harris said that she was going to continue with what Joe Biden had done, that she was not going to be different than Joe Biden other than having Republicans in her cabinet, that the money and the arms were going to continue to flow to Israel. Like, are we supposed to forget about all that and pretend as if the destruction of Gaza lands solely on Donald Trump's shoulders? Where it's like, what do you mean that this is what you voted for? This had been happening for 15 months. Why do you think people were morally opposed to voting for Joe Biden? It's because you guys dismissed those voters because you literally said we don't need them. And now it's like, okay, is it that you didn't need those voters or that those voters are the reason that Kamala Harris lost? Which one is it? Which one? Yeah. Did Donald Trump send Bill Clinton and Richie Torres to Michigan to yell at Muslims? I know. Anyway, LaBallin, thank you for the 16 months. Cayenne, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Salty Dog, thank you for the 6 months. Anyway, how did I even get here? I don't know. Just a string of consciousness. And anyway, yeah. I've been banging my head against a wall all week. I feel you. There is nothing that will make you lose your mind more than seeing people who truly believe that they are morally superior being so obviously immoral, being so transparently evil, while like truly believing themselves to be morally the good guys. Yeah. And it just is also not a good sign when you have people who work for the Democratic Party saying things like elections have consequences. It's like, oh, okay. So what you're signaling is nothing's going to change with the Democrats because once again, you are showing that you have no responsibility here in your assessment of this last election, that you don't have to take accountability, you have no responsibility, that this is the voters. Fuck the voters. Elections have consequences. And we're just going to keep doing this all over again. Next election, we'll just run it back. And I swear, there are liberals who get so smug when they lose because that is their happy place. They love, actually, to be in this position where the Democrats have lost and they get to smugly, like, blame all of these groups of people. They get to be openly racist, right? They can, say whatever the hell they want now. They can go mask off, and it's a place that they love to be in, right? They get to attack minorities. They get to attack the trans community. They fundraise off of it. They get hit tweets off of it. They like to be in that spot. I'm like, you like being there. This isn't about, this isn't actually about any type of ideology, any type of belief system. It's just about like smugly getting to rub in the faces of people who actually do care, who actually do have beliefs, who have morals. And I thought I was angry at the Democratic Party after the election, and I have only gotten angrier. And to quote Chappell Roan, it's still fuck Donald Trump. Don't get it twisted. It is not a zero-sum game where it's like fuck the Democrats, which then means like Donald Trump's great. No. Fuck Donald Trump. But the way that liberals have been behaving, is so disgusting, and it just has made me angrier and angrier. Bell Thiel, thank you for the Prime. Why Johnny, thank you for the 4 months. The white liberals, the worst enemy to America. I mean, moderates, white liberals, Malcolm X and MLK Jr. both famously talked about them. Don't worry, Democratic leadership is giving the strongest possible resistance to Trump. Yeah. Let's see.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We will.
You will win what, bitch?
Win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Somebody take the microphone away from this man. Somebody take it away.
We won't rest. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Leader Schumer.
Like, it's actually crazy that there are people who get jazzed up from that still, that are like, yes, we will win. We won't rest. Let's go. We're the good guys here. Just, retire, you old fuck. We won't rest. You should rest. How about that? You should rest in somewhere far away from Congress. Former ex-staffer of AOC, I know, I saw this. Unfortunately, this is one of the hardest primaries that you could try and do. Nancy Pelosi she's, I mean, yes, go. Like, it's one of those where it's not like I'm saying, it's obviously it's a messaging run. Yes, it's about sending a message. It's about saying, fuck you. She's so old. Like, Nancy, you're rich, you're old. Please just go take your millions. Please just go. Just go. Why don't you want to go live your life? Okay, you have a huge family. You're rich as hell. Just retire and go enjoy your retirement. Yeah, I did see Mitch McConnell fell again, and it's the Jason Derulo meme. Nancy's like, I need more insider info to make more money before I leave. She's like, I'm not wealthy enough. She's like, I need to get to at least top 3. Gotta be top 3. All right. Well, okay. Anyway, we got stuff to get into. You know what I'm actually going to start off with, you guys? I'm going to start off with, before we get into Oscars, any chance we go back to the clip queue to finish Japan recap stuff eventually? Yes. Tomorrow night, I have to go to Jonas's concert. I think we are all going. I think it's like me, Fan, Foosley, and Jonas will be streaming it on Jonas's server. So we'll probably have that tomorrow night. But anyway, I was like, I just need to. I need to cover. I need to cover pop culture news. I have to do this, or else I'm going to drown underneath the sheer amount of it. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to read to you what is, to me, I like cannot believe that this piece got published because it is so petulant. It is really embarrassing. And this is the opinion column in the Hollywood Reporter that came out yesterday by Jeff Rabon about Chappell Roan, who you would not be shocked to learn that he is a music executive. So, wow, very surprising that he threw a bitch fit about Chappell Roan's speech. Yeah, and then Halsey called him out in her Instagram story, which we'll take a look at. Yeah. Also, you should see Jeff's thoughts on Palestinians. Okay, which after I read this piece to you, I bet you can guess whether or not he's an ally. This guy is a middle-aged man who wrote a piece in the Hollywood Reporter, truly throwing a fit about Chappell Roan's Grammy speech. And of course, he is a music executive. And I do love that this got community noted on Twitter. Because the thing is, it even says, wait. Yeah. Jeff Rabon is the former chair of the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music at Tisch School of the Arts, New York University. He's also co-founder and CEO of boardofed.com, an edutainment platform for consumers and industry professionals. This is one of those things where the second that this Bill Maher had a point, there's much more good stuff like that to come. This is one of those things where when a piece like this drops, people immediately will clock who the writer is, and it's always the worst person, right? It's always somebody who, of course, feels personally slighted, who feels pissed off, and then who, has the ability to like go write, to go get a column in the Hollywood Reporter. Here's the community note. Written by a record company exec. People clocked this within 2 seconds of this piece dropping. Context: Jeff Rabon, the writer for this piece, defending major labels against criticisms of greed and mistreatment, formerly worked as an executive for major labels such as Atlantic Records and Elektra Records. So I have to go pee while I'm doing that. For those who missed it, I will play. Here is the except. Okay, so that's her speech where she takes the record labels who profit to the tune of billions from the artists that are, under their label, and she takes them to task in supporting these artists. And that's why she says, labels, we got you, but do you got us? So anyway, okay, here is the opinion piece by Chappell Roan. Let me just once again, Jeff Rabon. This man is 54 years old, okay? 54 years old. Chappell Roan, the misguided rhetoric of an instant industry insider. This is such a Bill Maher-ass joke. Yes. The Grammy winner for Best New Artist gets respect and true appreciation for her creativity and gumption, but is far too green and uninformed to be the agent of change that she aspires to be today. It's always interesting, before we get into this, how people who are not agents of change, who are not, using their platforms to advocate for those who have less, how they always have something to say about those who do, right? Why is it that it's always the guy who doesn't care about your cause who sure has a lot to say about how you're doing your cause? They stay consistent. They sure do. Yeah, green, when she literally explained how she herself experienced it. What would Prince say? Or Tom Petty? Don't mention their names. Keep their names out your mouth. They fought for their souls and for the rights to their music, putting their careers in jeopardy for what they believed was artistic integrity, the hallmark of greatness. And when you've been around long enough, this is giving old man with his fist raised to the sky. When you've been around long enough, you know that real substantive change doesn't come from speeches. Yeah, I guess real substantive change also, don't even bother. Don't bother, because giving a speech or raising $1.6 million for Palestine, don't even bother, because that's not going to fix the whole problem. So why even change? It comes from where the rubber meets the road, life and limb, harm's way, risking it all with action. Whether it is Prince wresting back control of his master recordings at the height of his popularity, or Petty funding his iconic album Damn the Torpedoes himself and then refusing to release it, and later taking, what does this have to do with Chappell? Like, okay, yeah. I like how he's using these examples of male artists and being like, look at how amazing these male artists were. Chappell Roan, fuck off. You'll never be Prince. You'll never be Tom Petty. Okay, and like what? Yeah. What is... So Chappell, using her platform as a new artist, somebody who has jeopardized her, her newfound fame, her standing in the industry, because she's new, right? She doesn't have she's not deeply entrenched in the way that like Taylor Swift or Beyonce is. And he's like, no, not good enough. Not good enough. You have to do this or I won't even consider you to be somebody of value. But that table requires a willingness to leave blood on the floor and to put your money where your mouth is. It seems Chappell Roan wants to turn labels into landlords, bosses, and insurance providers. Have you ever tried to get your expenses reimbursed from a major label, yet somehow you want them in charge of healthcare claims? Oh my God. Brother, what you are turning this into something else. She said, if my label would have prioritized artists' health, I could have been provided care by a company I was giving everything to. Because after she was dropped by her label, Atlantic Records, she struggled to find a job and affordable health care. She was younger than 26. She was younger than 26 and was new in the industry and was like out on her ass and was talking about how it was a very difficult experience and how she does not want artists who, are in a similar position to how she used to be to have to struggle in this way. Like, the music business is the music business does not cater to artists as employees. And what she's saying is that labels who make a lot of money off of artists and who, outside of like the contract that they will sign with artists for artists to produce, whatever, X amount of music and receive X amount of pay. She's like, they should be treating them not as just an entity for them to make money off of, but to treat them as human beings who are employed underneath them and to like care about them. Not just look at them as dollar signs. They are definitely seen as extensions of the company, not as real living beings doing a job for them deserving of not only the title, but benefits of employee. Okay, so what else does Jeff have to say here? As if labels want next year's winner to shout them down as slumlords in front of 60 million viewers, the architect of such a system, Motown's trailblazing Berry Gordy, received his fair share of criticism for Hitsville's unprecedented success, but the artists were happy with their royalties and credits, right? Exactly. Roan gets respect and true appreciation for her artistry and gumption. This is, oh my God, but is far too green and too uninformed to be the agent of change she aspires to be today. This is so condescending. It is giving like, oh, it's very sweet that you care. And I get it. You're young. You have a big heart. You care a lot, but you know nothing. Yes, it's giving sit down, little girl, this is beyond you. Yeah. How often have we seen this over the last year as young people led the biggest anti-war protests since Vietnam, where once again, young people were leading the protests back in the 60s, and how they were treated like dumb children. How they were told over and over again to sit down. It's so sweet that you young people, that you care, but you don't understand this world. You don't get anything. So why don't you sit down and let the adults handle it? It's like, actually, young people see how the adults have handled things and they're like, nope, this is not acceptable. So we are going to be standing up and advocating for ourselves. We are going to be advocating for those of us without power. And somebody like Chappell, who is a young person and who now has power and who just won Best New Artist, is using her platform to try and be an advocate. Poor little girl, your opinion doesn't count till you've been beaten down to the submission of your label. Taylor was worried about taking on her old record label. It just happened to work out. She was 15 years into her career. Chappell deserves a lot of credit for saying this in her acceptance speech for Best New Artist. Right. Like, on the one hand, Chappell has exploded this last year. She has received a lot of accolades. You know, she's a huge name now. She won one of the big 4 awards at the Grammys, but also she is new. Also, she has risked a career by continuing to call out these systems of power, you know? The Grammys are a celebration of the biggest earners in this industry, not the best artists. Chappell was one of the most profitable artists. She has every right to say this. Chappell may evolve quickly, perhaps build a confab of power-wielding playmakers, or even pass the torch to another leader-to-be. But her Grammy speech was a hackneyed and plagiarized script of an artist basking in industry love while broadcasting naivete and taking aim at the very machine that got her there. What he is saying is be grateful. Do you know how lucky you are to be where you are? You're going to come after the machine that got you to where you are, where first of all, that takes away from her. Okay. It's like the only reason that you are where you are is because of the labels, is because of the industry that you have the nerve to criticize. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah, the machine that also took her in and spat her out, so she's been on the other end. Absolutely. Yes. Like, this is the mentality in the entertainment industry that keeps artists, and that keeps, not even just artists, but people who work in the industry, like assistants, like lower level, junior executives, that keeps them, feeling like they cannot advocate for a livable wage, that they cannot advocate for the benefits that they deserve because, if you want to say something, well, guess what? There's 1,000 people who, there's 1 million people, there's 10 million people who will take your spot. This is the mentality. When I was a trainee at Sony, okay, I worked like 60 hours a week. I did so much work. I did the work that the executives were supposed to be doing, but they didn't want to fucking do it. And so then it fell on me, of course. They're like, oh, hey, why don't you like watch this film, read this script, and then give me Spark Notes on it so that when I go to the big boss, that it seems as if I know that I've watched this movie, that I've read this script, so that I know what I'm talking about. Give me your opinion. Truly. I had executives who would be like, hey, I need like an opinion on this so that I can then have an opinion, because I'm not going to do this for myself. And I was paid $15 an hour, which was good, right? I was told, well, it's better than nothing. Like, at least it's $15 an hour now. It could be free. Like, you should be grateful that it's $15 an hour, which meant that I still had to keep my job at the club, which meant that I would work from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock plus, like sometimes earlier, sometimes later. And then I would go work at the club at night. And that was the way that was what I had to do to afford rent, to afford to live in the city of Los Angeles so I could work in the industry. And the mentality was, there are so many people who would kill to do this job. There are so many people who would do this for free. And the truth is that, yes, people who come from, who have more resources, who wouldn't have to take on a second job to pay rent, who can afford, even though they shouldn't have to, right? Like, I don't even believe that rich kids who can do a free internship, who can do a free training program should like have to do that just because their families, you know, have the resources for them to afford to be able to do that. But that's what it was. It was that I was lucky to get the position that I got. That, you know, there was nothing special about me. There was nothing special about me in being the, you know, in getting hired for the position at Sony that I had, because there were, you know, 1,000 people who would apply to that position in one day. And the reason that I got that is because I knew, you know, that I had connections. Yeah, you're a cog in a machine type of shit. Absolutely. And so here, Jeff, who is a, you know, a music exec, he's very successful in the music industry. He wrote a fucking book. He is saying that same thing where he's like, how dare you have any smoke for the machine that is responsible for your success? You are only here because they allowed you to be here, which is not true, first of all. But BR, thank you for the gifted N Train. Thank you for the bits. Mr. Shy, Man Cougar, thank you. Uncomfy Time, thank you. All right, continuing on. If labels are responsible for artists' wages, healthcare, and overall well-being, where does it end and personal responsibility begin? Oh, he hit her with the "you have personal responsibility." Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Be an individual. Should Chris Blackwell put a mint on her pillow and tuck her in at night too? Oh, there's no moral or ethical obligation by any standard that holds labels responsible for the allocation of additional funds beyond advances and royalties. Okay, so that is his whole thesis. That line right there. There is no moral or ethical obligation by any standard, because what he's saying is that that's never been the way. You think that we're going to change it? We're not morally or ethically obligated to support you beyond you receiving royalties and advances for the like profit that you generate for us. Like, this is the point of why Chappell is getting up on stage and saying what she said. That's literally the problem. Yes. When we talk about change, when we talk about, you know, holding the companies in power, the people in power accountable, so that the workers who generate profit for them are, you know, able to afford to be able to do so, to be, you know, to deserve what they deserve. Like, that is what this is all about. It's not a, oh, well, you know, this is the way things have always been, and so that's how things should always be. That is the problem. Roan's call for record labels to pay artists a livable wage and provide healthcare was noble, but also wildly misinformed. Her rise to stardom, fueled by viral moments, major label backing, and an industry desperate for the next alternative pop starlet, proves she's no longer a struggling artist. She should do something about it rather than just talk at it. Oh, okay. Change is waiting to be championed, not just announced. Thank you so much, Jeff. Once again, guy who doesn't care about your cause, telling you how to do your cause. That's what it is. The outsider who became the establishment. Chappell Roan, born Kaylee Rose Amstutz, isn't the first artist to frame themselves as an outsider railing against the system. Oh my God, I'm sorry I keep stopping every sentence, but like, Oh, Gina, darling. Wait, Gina, are you going to the show tomorrow? Are you performing? Welcome in, Gina Darling Raiders. Thank you, Gina Darling, for the raid. Thank you. I am, and I got roped into performing. It's going to be a disaster. It's okay. You know what? I'm singing a song in French that I have not practiced yet. So don't worry. We'll be great. It'll be great. I'll see you tomorrow. I can't wait. Okay. So, what I was going to say, yes, get shit-faced and sing. It'll be beautiful. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So, this mentality here is a stupid mentality. The idea that now that Chappell is a big name, she's no longer an outsider. So therefore, anything she has to say it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's not just irrelevant. He's saying like that she's actually the establishment now. So what I said a couple nights ago when I first covered this speech is that when you amass power, when you have the biggest stage, which Chappell had on the night of the Grammys, that is when you advocate, okay? When you are now a person, I mean, I'm saying like, you know, people who advocate for causes but don't have big stages, like they're not going to be heard by as many people. But Chappell using the Grammy stage is not something where, oh, okay, well now she is, you know, now she's a big deal, so she's part of the establishment. She shouldn't be paid attention to. No. She is using this stage because she has this stage now. Because she has the biggest stage that she can possibly have to advocate for the things that she believes in. And when you are a person of now means and power, like Chappell has amassed in the last year, that is when you use that power to advocate for people who don't have that stage, who don't have those means, who don't have the power that you now have. That's how this works. When I was, you know, like me or other leftists, before we had a platform like Twitch, yeah, we advocate, we talk about the things we believe in, but we didn't have a platform like we now have. And haters, of course, people who don't care about your cause will be like, oh, wow, you know, you're just, you're a hypocrite, or you're not one of these struggling people. So how dare you try to advocate for struggling people? It's like, do you not understand how this fucking world works? That now we have a platform, we have a stage, we have the opportunity to be heard by as many people as, you know, by more people than we ever have. And that has a bigger impact. When you finally have a platform is when you should not, is not when you should stop advocating. It's when you recognize that you now can be seen and heard by more people. And so you speak for those who don't have a platform. You speak for those who have less, who do not have the means, who are struggling, who once upon a time, it's like, I was there, and I don't want people to have to suffer this way, to have to struggle this way. I want to change things. This is how people treat Hassan. You live in a big house. Why do you get right? This is one of the biggest criticisms of Hassan of, oh, millionaire, lives in a big house, like blah, 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 blah. How you're such a hypocrite, going after these, you know, these systems of power. You're a hypocrite advocating for working class people because you're a millionaire now. And just remember, it's always coming from people who don't care about the cause, okay? Imagine wanting dignity and healthcare for your fellow man. Right. You don't give up on the cause when you reach the level of having a mass following and an opportunity to reach millions. Exactly. Right. Criticizing capitalism while benefiting from it type of bullshit. Right. Oh, Chappell Roan will be fine. Chappell, yes. Well, you know, I mean, like I said, she has, every time she's opened her mouth, she has jeopardized her career because she is so new to the industry, but she has persevered, right? Like, it is a huge deal that she won Best New Artist and continue to use the space to be an advocate for the causes that she cares about. Right. They don't want you to speak out in the first place. Okay. They don't want you to speak out in the first place. And that's why they'll say you're a hypocrite. That's why they'll say that you're part of the establishment. You're now like the wealthy elite that you're criticizing, blah, blah, blah. Which, let's be clear, Chappell Roan is not a multi-billion-dollar record label. Okay. Same as Hassan Piker is not a billionaire. This article is proof that what she's saying is working. Right. It's pissing off the people who, of course, they're pissed off because they are representatives of these, in this case, of the record labels that she is going after. The moment that Chappell stepped onto the Grammy stage Sunday night, she was no longer the scrappy indie artist fighting from the fringes. She became part of the establishment. It is disingenuous to cash a fat label check, ride meaningful industry support to mainstream success, and then act like the kid who didn't get picked for dodgeball when your name is called. Psh, psh. I will break the news. Oh, thank you, Jeff. You are no longer a revolutionary fighting the power. The oldest music cliche in history, but you are positioned to do great things for artists and writers nonetheless. See, there's still room for puppy dogs and ice cream in this story. This man is such a petulant baby. He is such a petulant baby. There's still room for puppy dogs and ice cream in this story are real words that this man wrote for the Hollywood Reporter. This dude is giving the same energy as the people who are like, forgive student loan debt. Well, I had to pay mine off, so now everyone else has to suffer because I have to suffer. Yes, it's that, and it's also, it's like, okay, Chappell, like, when you say she's part of the establishment, no, like, Chappell is a successful artist, but it doesn't now mean she's part of the establishment in the way that what she is supposed to just fall to her knees and worship the establishment because now she's a successful artist. No, you're mad that she's not doing that. She's not a record label, bro. She's still an artist. Yeah, what are you talking about? And you know what the thing is? Keep in mind that this is the same mentality in the way that people treated civil rights leaders, okay? Because, you know, the civil rights leaders who gained power and who were not living in poverty. And so, you know, white people around them who wanted to who wanted to destroy the cause, who did not want them to be gaining even more support with the masses, who did not want them to be heard, would say the same shit. They always do this. Yes, they'll be like, oh, Martin Luther, like Bernie Sanders had 3 houses. Remember the Bernie Sanders 3 houses? Yes, and like, you know, the criticisms of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. where it's like, oh, they're not making crack on the streets like how I think all black people are, and so it's crazy. It's crazy. Where it's like, oh, you have a house and a car. Yes, it's trying to discredit those who are using the platforms, who are using the power that they have amassed to advocate for the cause, to advocate for all of the people who are not in the position that they are in. Roan is a product of the same system that she's critiquing. Island, a subsidiary of Universal Music Group, the world's biggest music company for many years running, didn't throw down big bucks for fun. They ran the numbers, assessed potential revenue, and invested hard cash and company bandwidth to build her identity and a sustainable business around her music. First of all, Chappell Roan built her identity, okay? Chappell Roan is not an AI. She is not a robot that the labels just plucked out of obscurity. Okay, she's not an industry plant. They saw the crowd sizes that Chappell was pulling, okay? They saw how much people loved what Chappell Roan represented, how much they loved her music, how much they loved who she was. Yeah, he's like, they created everything about her. She owns nothing. This is what this is. This is that mentality of she owns nothing, right? That as an artist, you do not own anything about your art. You don't own anything about who you are. That is owned by the labels. You are simply a cog in the machine, and they will replace you. You don't think that there's not a bunch of little girls from Missouri who would be happy, who would give anything, who would, be the lapdogs of these labels to be put into the position that Chappell Roan is in? Record labels are businesses, not charities, and the deal is simple. They put up the money, take the risk, and in return, they get a cut of the profits. Could the system be better? Sure. Should artists get better deals? Absolutely. But Roan's speech lacked the nuance and industry awareness to build any consensus or even speak to the priorities of an artist's platform of issues. Demanding that labels pay artists like salaried employees ignores the fundamental economic structure of the business. No one is forcing artists to sign deals. Oh, okay. For the 1 millionth time, if they don't like the terms, they can stay independent, own their masters, and take the financial risk themselves. If you don't like it, get out. The realities of label deals and artist compensation. So a label should be slapped for running its business like a business, while your advance goes towards more important things, like a personal ayahuasca shaman from Detroit and a toilet that speaks 4 languages. Make it make sense. Why isn't Roan pushing her artist peers to put their money where their mouth is and donate 2 to 3% of their advance to a fund that supports fellow artists? Guy who doesn't care about your cause telling you how to do your cause. She's now breathing rarefied elite level air, and the time is limited to get the Beyoncés, the Biebers, the Taylors, the Brunos on board, since the only way across the finish line is top-down funding. If they're truly concerned about a livable wage, maybe they should look at how their advances are structured first. Labels get and deserve plenty of criticism, but writers, the backbone of this industry, are suffering far worse than performing artists. This man really just did people have it worse than you as his argument for why artists should not be advocating for themselves. Like, yes, take care of writers. You don't give a shit about them, my guy. Y'all, these were the same things that were said during the writers and actors strike. Okay? During the writers and actors strikes, people were like, oh, you think you have it bad? What about insert somebody who has it worse. It's like, do you understand that that is not a valid argument? When a group of people are advocating for what they deserve, the argument is not, oh, well, this group of people has it worse. It's like, none of these people should have to be struggling at all. And it's always by people like Jeff who don't care about any of these people, who are like, oh, it's very funny that you think that you have it bad. Okay, do you know who's got it worse? Another group of people who I also don't care about. This whiny expectation that labels and our publishers should be responsible for making artists function as fully formed adults is absurd and reeks of entitlement. Here's what Roan might not understand. Record labels are structured as investments, not salaries. When an artist signs a contract, the label provides an advance, which is essentially a loan. I love that you're telling somebody who's been through this, okay? You are telling somebody, Chappell Roan, who has literally been through this. Thank you for explaining it. Okay, whatever. I'm going to skip down here. Should artists have better healthcare options? Absolutely. Sounds like a union thing to me. Most independent managers don't have insurance either. It's a flaw in the industry at large, not just on the label side. Oh, okay, so let's not call out labels because it's a problem in the entire industry. Artists can negotiate their deals any way they choose to direct a portion of their advance towards healthcare coverage, just like they do with recording costs. Some already do. And a livable wage, that's a different conversation entirely. But it begins with this. Isn't an advance for that precise purpose? One might argue that the six-figure advances labels pay just for signing your name are livable. And they certainly buy you time to make the entire record you promise before you run out of cash, right? Yeah, let's not pretend that record labels aren't exploitative, okay? Let's not pretend that they don't trap artists. Hello, Kesha? Kesha, who was literally trapped in her label for years. This happens all the time. This isn't something where they're just like, oh, we're so kind. Out of the goodness of our heart, we're giving you this advance, which remember, that means that they own you. That if you if you aren't fulfilling what it is that they are requiring, if you want to get out for any reason, good luck. Yeah, JoJo. Do we remember JoJo when JoJo disappeared forever? And people were like, what happened to JoJo? And these are artists who were very famous. Chappell is specifically, when she was on stage, was really specifically talking about smaller artists. Talking about the artists who aren't up on the Grammy stage. Who aren't, haven't gone platinum. Who haven't sold like millions of records. And even still, big artists like Taylor Swift, who are trapped in contracts, who are exploited by labels. Okay, now Bill Maher had a point. So I understand that I probably could have skipped most of this column and just pointed to the fact that he wrote in bold, like this is its own section. Bill Maher had a point. If you say Bill Maher had a point, honestly, at this point, opinion discarded. You know they're going to say some bullshit when it starts with Bill Maher had a point. Yeah, Bill Maher had a point. Opinion in the trash. Recently, Bill Maher's critique of Roan on Real Time hit the mark, calling her out for the trendy performative activism. Oh yeah, Bill Maher, another guy who doesn't give a shit about your cause, telling you how to do your cause. The trendy performative activism that plagues young stars, where they make grand statements without understanding the complexities of the issues that they're addressing. Maher's point? Roan is uninformed, not because she's untalented, but because she hasn't lived in the industry long enough to understand its intricate workings. Now anointed Best New Artist, she's experiencing her first wave of mainstream success, and like many before her, believes she's in a position to dictate systemic change without offering tangible solutions. And therein lies the problem. Artists like Roan aren't changing the game, they're repeating the old one. Young stars are getting a taste of success, turning into critics of the machine that elevated them, and ultimately continuing to profit from that very system. Oh, so you say you're a socialist? Well, how could you have a house? Oh, so you critique capitalism, and yet you benefit from capitalism. I am very smart. Oh, so you have profited from this system that you also critique. Therefore, no one should take you seriously. To champion struggling artists, leading by example is the only way. Actions speak louder than viral Grammy moments, and there are real ways to make a difference. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Start a foundation that helps independent artists with healthcare and fair compensation, and demand that your fellow Grammy winners match your funding. Offer mentorship programs for young musicians navigating label contracts. Put your money where your mouth is and invest in new models of artist compensation instead of expecting labels to change overnight. Or be like Jeff and write a book. Write a book about how to navigate the industry, about how to be in the music biz. Be like Jeff, who's a real activist, who's a real change maker here. This is what real industry disruptors do. Taylor Swift didn't just complain, she re-recorded her entire catalog and managed to gross $1 billion in her spare time. Prince reinvented his entire business model. Petty went on a creative hunger strike and held one of his best records hostage. That's how you force change. Put it on the table and take the hit to elevate everyone. Labels, we got you, but do you got us? Roan lamented to those in the front rows. The words of a fighter not yet ready for a shot at the title. This isn't a game of laser tag at the mall with your friends. It's bare-knuckle warfare at sold-out Madison Square Garden. It's the toughest business on earth. The artists and managers wearing their grown-up pants know that the high-stakes game of commercial creativity has a talent plateau and a shelf life. Altruistic and good intentions never overshadow reality. They got you until you no longer add value, and you got them until a different one tells you you're smarter and more talented and will prove it with money. It's not cynicism, it's acceptance. Stevie Nicks foreshadowed this with, Stevie Nicks, who also supported Chappell Roan. Can I handle the seasons of my life, that pit of uncertainty that passage of time brings? Labels and publishers cannot fix all that is broken, so they shouldn't even try, or be deemed evil for not picking up careers and lives that shatter when the window of opportunity slams shut. Own it. It makes seeing solutions easier when you realize there's just us, right, Stevie? You dumbass. You want to know how Chappell's words have had reverberations already? That Stevie fucking Nicks praised Chappell. That Stevie Nicks in an interview was like, I like what she's saying. I stand by her. The same Stevie Nicks whose lyrics you are quoting right here, who heard what Chappell was saying over the last year and was like, yeah, I like what she's saying. I'll bet that if the artists come to the table as partners with the thoughtful solutions to protect our community in these extraordinary times, the same faces will be there listening, just like they were this past Sunday. If you're just nice to the labels, certainly they will listen. Certainly these multi-billion-dollar labels won't be exploitative anymore, as long as you're thoughtful and nice and kind, and actually as long as you don't say anything. The industry matrix is far from perfect and often a dysfunctional clown show, but Roan isn't ready to be Neo. Oh, bitch. Get out of here. Get out of here with the Matrix quoting. She alone cannot change what requires a village. Get off the Grammy stage and find the smartest people you know to help build a platform. Use your celebrity to twist arms for good. Go to the homes of your industry partners and just listen. I like how he thinks that the only thing Chappell's done is speak on the Grammy stage, while also he is devaluing the impact that speaking out on the Grammy stage after she won one of the biggest awards of the night is. Like, do you not recognize that at award shows, historically, actors and musicians artists have used those platforms because of how they are the biggest platforms in the world to advocate for the causes that they believe in. Do you think that like Chappell is the first person to do this? Fiona Apple in 1997, when she got up on stage at the MTV VMAs award show, said this world is bullshit. She said, I didn't prepare a speech and I'm sorry, but I'm glad I didn't, because I'm not going to do this like everybody else does it. Because everybody that I should be thanking, I'm really sorry, but I have to use this time. See, Maya Angelou said that we as human beings at our best can only create opportunities. And I'm going to use this opportunity the way that I want to use it. So what I want to say is, everybody out there that's watching, everybody that's watching this world is bullshit. You shouldn't model your life. Wait a second. You shouldn't model your life about what you think that we think is cool and what we're wearing and what we're saying and everything. Go with yourself. Go with yourself. And there's just a few people that I want to say something to. I want to say, Mama, I love you. I'm so glad that we're becoming friends. Amber, you're my sister, you're my best friend. Andrew Slater, no one else could have produced this album and no one else did. And it's just stupid that I'm in this world, but you're all very cool to me. So thank you very much. Like, that's just one example. Should we talk about Sinead O'Connor? Right? Should we talk about Michael Moore? Like, how many times artists have used these gigantic stages to be like, hey, listen up. This is something that I want to say to as many people as possible. Marlon Brando, who used the 1973 Oscars to talk about the mistreatment, the abuse of Native Americans in not just the industry, but in the country, to bring attention to Standing Rock. Jonathan Glazer, who last year was called a self-hating Jew after he won for a film that is about how we can live next door to pure evil and rationalize that and go about our days, right? And his film being about the Holocaust and how Nazis would live next door to concentration camps, and how he used the Oscars stage to bring attention to the parallels of Israel and Palestine. And the impact that had, right? Like, how many people either cheered that, how many people were like, yes, thank you, or how many people were angered? How many pieces were written about that speech? This dude probably hates Michael Moore. This dude hates anybody who cares about anything of value. Otherwise, you are liable to become just another artist no one cares about in the industry, burning their 15 minutes of fame for an echo chamber of applause. Great songs last a lifetime and more, and I am certain that the very real struggles our beautiful creative community face are deserving of far more than a trending sticker for just one day. All right, Jeff. So here's what Halsey had to say. Halsey posted on Instagram because, okay, what Jeff is an idiot, all right? Jeff is a piece of shit, but Jeff is ignoring how every time Chappell has said something, it has had an effect not just on us normal people, but also on her peers. How many young female artists who saw Chappell standing up for herself, standing up for others, then spoke out, felt inspired, just like Creators for Palestine. Creators for Palestine was not only something that we did to raise money, and we raised a lot of money, almost $2 million for Palestinians who have gone through hell the last year and a half. But what it also did was it gave people the courage to also speak out and advocate for Palestine. How many creators who, let me tell you, when Creators for Palestine started, it was a small group. It was a small group of people who had already been advocating for Palestine. And as more and more people joined, it was a domino effect where it inspired, where it gave courage to others who wanted to join the cause, who felt like safety in numbers, who saw how many big creators were using their platforms to advocate for Palestine and went, you know what? I want to do that too. Who used Creators for Palestine as a way, as a way to say, I am standing with those who are oppressed. I am standing on the side of justice. So Jeff might think that, using the Grammys stage or, using any platform that Chappell has used over the last year to advocate for Palestinians, to advocate for the LGBTQ community, to advocate for struggling artists, to advocate for her peers who, work in an industry where it's very normalized to be harassed by paparazzi, to be harassed by fans, that like she has inspired people by using that platform. She has inspired us normal folk and also her peers. Halsey came to Chappell Roan's defense after The Hollywood Reporter published a scathing takedown of her. It was not a takedown. Let's just be clear, okay? A takedown makes it seem as if there was like any value there. It was not. It was a 54-year-old man throwing a fit. It was a 54-year-old music exec being a baby. Yes. Prez Mukow, thank you for the 3 months. Hogan, thank you for the gifted to Chappell. Mandy, thank you for the 11 months. Sweet Black Tea, thank you for the 3 months. Ahem. In a text-only Instagram story, Halsey tagged The Hollywood Reporter directly. Good for her. Before sharing her own response to the piece. I hope you are embarrassed of the absolute personal attack that you have ran and disguised as critical journalism. Halsey, who uses she, they pronouns, wrote, I started following up after seeing you in Tokyo with a song. Glad to have your perspective on the world and my viewing rotation now. Thank you, Green Bass Guy, and thank you for the bits. Jeff Rabon's ranting, seething tantrum, that's exactly what it was. It was a tantrum, is loaded with assumptions and accusations that generalize the experience of every artist to that of the most successful. Our industry is comprised of thousands of voices. The elite at the very top of the class are not the example of a monolithic experience for all artists. Common Halsey W. Halsey went on to point out how record advances are for affording survival and are a game of investment. They continued, if you want to profit off of someone else's art, that artist should have the basic living means to feel safe enough to create that art. Yep, and that is what Chappell Roan was talking about. In the piece, Rabon insisted that elite artists such as Roan should put your money where your mouth is. He brings up examples of other artists' battles against industry practices like Prince, Tom Petty, and Taylor Swift. Halsey specifically called out the Swift comparison in their own post. An artist like Chappell, who has worked for over a decade, is not an instant industry insider. And to compare the payoff of her actions to those of an industry titan like Taylor Swift, when Chappell hasn't even spun the block enough times to see the residuals of her long-earned but sudden success, is irresponsible for someone with your experience in this industry. She ended her post by calling the piece bootlicking behavior. Straight up. Yep. That is exactly what it is. Shame on you, bootlicking behavior. She wrote, I hope you're embarrassed of the absolute personal attack that you've ran and disguised as critical journalism. This is so far beneath the standard that you should uphold as a publication. Oh yeah, it is shame on The Hollywood Reporter. Make no mistake here, okay? Fuck Jeff Rabon, but also The Hollywood Reporter, who gladly gave him space to write that piece. Of course they did. Chappell has yet to comment on the op-ed. And when she comments, if she comments, we will be waiting. The post if you want it. Yeah, thanks. I just want to see if I missed anything. Okay, I'm actually just gonna read through it one more time because I think this didn't have all of her comments. I hope you're embarrassed of the absolute personal attack that you've ran and disguised as critical journalism. This is so far beneath the standard you should uphold as a publication. Jefferbon's ranting, seething tantrum is loaded with assumptions and accusations that generalize the experience of every artist to that of the most successful. Our industry is comprised of thousands of voices. The elite at the very top of the class are not the example of a monolithic experience for all artists. Advances seldom awarded the way they used to be, exactly, are for affording survival because your commitment to making art, the label then sells and sometimes takes an absolute majority of, precludes you from working a day job. It's a game of investment, but the investment is towards producing the materials. The person, the organic material that is producing the product needs access to things like healthcare. Shocking, I know. If you want to profit off of someone else's art, that artist should have the basic living means to feel safe enough to create that art. An artist like Chappell, who has worked for over a decade, is not an instant industry insider. And to compare the payoff of her actions to those of an industry titan with the power and financial leverage like Taylor Swift when Chappell hasn't even spun the block enough times to see the residuals of her long-earned but sudden success is irresponsible for someone with your experience in this industry. Shame on you, bootlicking behavior. Right. And this was the same fucking attitude during the labor strikes when writers and actors went on strike, where people were like, oh, I'm sorry, Leo DiCaprio wants more money, where, shut the fuck up, first of all, okay? You are being purposefully obtuse to act like every musician is Taylor Swift and that every actor is Leo DiCaprio. When the reality is that most are struggling working class artists who don't have fucking health care. Okay? And having A-list actors who were out on the strike lines was important to show solidarity. Those are not the people who, are getting crushed by the industry, by how residuals have gotten lesser and lesser, by how, the way that the industry has changed means that it is harder for artists to make a living wage. But the other thing is, too, for example, when Scarlett Johansson was in that battle with Disney, it is still support Scarlett Johansson against Disney because Disney fucked her over. Scarlett Johansson is a multi-millionaire. Excuse me. Oh, my God. Scarlett Johansson is multi-millionaire. Of course, most of the problems that we're talking about don't apply to someone like Scarlett Johansson. But it is still a Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is not the bad guy when she's going up against Disney, okay? And there were a lot of people who were like, I don't care about Scarlett Johansson. She's a millionaire actress. It's like, do you understand that you are taking the side of the multi-billion-dollar corporation that tried to screw her over? That did screw her over. So she had to take legal action. She is still the employee. But anyway, what Halsey is saying is correct. That she's like, first of all, you are misrepresenting how advances work, okay? You are also misrepresenting just how, supportive and great these labels are. Labels are notoriously exploitative, even when you are an artist who's at the top of the industry, who has more power and means than 99.9% of other artists. It's the same when people complain about athlete wages like it's going to to them or executives, not teachers. Yeah, they're like, oh, why should I care about these athletes or these rich actors when teachers aren't making enough? It's like, yeah, teachers aren't making enough. But we should be talking about like all of this. You don't get to dismiss this thing over here because teachers don't make enough money. And the reality is, it's like, do you really care that teachers aren't making enough money, or are you just using that as a gotcha? Or are you just trying to like, well, what about teachers? I don't care about writers and actors who are on strike because teachers don't make enough money. Like, this is all the same fight, okay? This is all the same fight. It's why we talk about solidarity. It's why we talk about class consciousness. This is the same fight under the system of capitalism that we live under. Katniss, thank you for the 11 months. Felony Beard, thank you for the tier 1. Ahem. Yeah, and I also love that Jeff used Taylor Swift as an example of like, look at how great she is. Chappell should be more like Taylor. Like, Taylor wasn't fucked over by the label. Like, Taylor wasn't famously... And I like how he tried to be like, well, look at the way that she handled things. It's like, dude, you're missing the point still that these labels are exploitative AF. You're mentioning Taylor Swift, but pointing to her as like see, Taylor Swift is great. Here's an example of how you should be. When she, who is one of the most powerful artists in the world, has been famously exploited. Yeah, saying Taylor didn't complain when she posted this. I just want to be able to perform my own music. That's it. I've tried to work this out privately through my team, but have not been able to resolve anything. Right now, my performance at the AMAs, the Netflix documentary, and any other record events I'm planning to play until November 2020 are ? So, anywho, yeah, I would be very interested to see if Jeff was openly supporting Taylor Swift as she was going through that fight. And if they can be hyper exploited, what hope do we have? Right. And Chappell, just to close things out. Yeah, I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess not. Chappell said what she said because she was speaking from her experiences. Chappell, back in 2021, when she was kicked off her label and she was, struggling to try and find a job and survive, she is talking about what she went through. And now she is successful, and now she has more power and means than she did 3 years ago, but she is continuing that fight. And she's fighting for, the Chappell in 2021 and all of the other artists, of which most artists are like that. Jeff threatening a Palestine supporter. There is nothing that would shock me about what this man. Wait, is this him? Wait a sec. I remember this video. No, this isn't. Wait. No, I don't think that's him. It's the reply. Okay. We would watch until the end, except the last 2 minutes you cut off where your man gets kicked in the mouth, cries on the tree where you all lies. You deserve a beeper. Hollywood Reporter, is there a reason you employ a guy that sends death threats to people for being pro-Palestine? Do you guys just love his anti-labor stances that much? Very cool. You deserve a beeper. Very cool. Jeff, great guy. Great dude. Awesome. Israel did not start this war. Hamas did. Families in southern Israel. Oh, okay. So he's retweeting Nikki Haley. Great. Yeah. Oh, I see a lot of what he has to post about here. Again, this is not a guy. This is not a guy who supports the cause. Okay. Oh, here's something he retweeted. College kids are so smart they can't figure out which bathroom to use or how student loans work. Intellectual giants. So yeah, remember how I used the example of how the energy that Jeff was giving in that piece was what people have been saying, what assholes have been saying condescendingly to college kids the last year and a half as they have advocated against the, against war, against the funds being sent by their institutions to the state of Israel, and how their very, very valid cause, their protests have been dismissed as like, oh, stupid college kids, stupid young babies. And of course, Jeff has that same energy, right? He has that energy about Chappell Roan, who, let me tell you, the fact that he is pro-Israel, and that Chappell, as we know, over the last year has been one of like the biggest voices in the industry talking about Palestine. Of course he already has like anger towards her. He's already salty about her. Like, this is not coming from a place of neutrality. This guy already he fucking hates everything that she has to say. Yeah, surely this man had no prior biases against Chappell Roan, a pro-Palestine supporter, going into writing that article, right? Oh, is someone doing the meme? I'm not being a jerk, but there's palpable irony in criticizing capitalism and thanking Five Gifted in the same breath. Okay. You are doing the meme. You are doing the meme of, oh, so you critique this system, but you also live under this system and benefit from this system. Which, first of all, the 5 gifted subs are coming from somebody in chat who chose to give me money to support my stream. Cap Nice, thank you for making me a hypocrite with 5 gifted subs. Green Bass Guy, thank you for making me a hypocrite. Oh, so you critique capitalism, and yet here you are. Thank you, Green Bass Guy, for the 5 Mochi Pichu. Thank you for the 14 months. Hogan, thank you for the gifted. UB, thank you for the 20 months. Scooter Pepperoni, thank you for the 5 community subs. Advanced Cow, thank you for the 12 months. Yeah. Chatter, money transaction is not only for capitalism. So yes, I guess the only way for me to do things correctly is if I work for just totally free. Is if I work my job, which actually, capitalism would be like, yeah, generate money for Twitch and don't take any of it. You should only make money for this corporation and not receive any of it for the work that you do. Yeah, why didn't you opt out of capitalism? Did you fill out the forms? Gosh. Oh, goodness. Mid card at best. Thank you for the gifted Prabsy. Thank you for the tier 1. Nico Lore, thank you for the tier 1. All right. I've heard you've exchanged money for goods and services. Care to comment? No comment. None. So you know what's interesting is that I also I critique Twitch and the industry that I work in. I critique the entertainment industry, an industry that I have worked in. That I love movies, and I critique the power structures that exist in the industry that creates the movies that I love so much. Anyway, I yes, I guess, if I could opt out of this system that we live under, I would. And the problem is that this is the system that we live under, and I think it's good to criticize it. I think it's good to point out how exploitative it is, and how we are at a stage now. We are at a stage of this system that the various ways that working class people are being crushed is more apparent than ever. And I am not going to sit by quietly and say nothing about how this system is crushing most of the people who live under it. It's a system that benefits a handful, who use this system to hoard wealth at the expense of most of the people in this country and in this world. Also, I am providing labor, right? This is my job, the labor of me, being a streamer, providing my commentary. This is not just something that I do for funsies. This is not just a side job. This is my job, and the people who subscribe to me are paying for my labor to support me. Skilla, thank you for the 23 months. Okay, let's finally get into talking about the thing that we have all been waiting for. KARLA SOFIA GASCON, the biggest crash out of all time. This is a PowerPoint that Ashley has been updating as each day goes by, because the news just keeps on coming. It just keeps on keeping on. There has been not a single day in the last 2 weeks since I went to Japan that there is not a new update in the world of Amelia Perez. Okay, so we are going to start at the beginning. We are going to start at the beginning. And even just today, we've got comments from Jacques Audiard. We've got new comments from KARLA SOFIA GASCON. What day is it? The 6th. Got new comments from Zoe Saldana. Okay, let me put that over there. Okay. All right. Man, if I were to go through all of my bookmark tweets, it's like just so much Amelia Perez shit that over the last 2 weeks I was like, boom, 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 boom. Gotta get that. All right. I have to pee again. Hold on. Brian, thank you for the 500 bits. Trapcom, thank you for the 5 months. Man-carrying thing about Amelia Perez. Okay, let's start off by watching this.
13 Oscar nominations.
For one of our pieces of content.
Well, some would say movie.
Amelia Perez really went above and beyond, huh?
Who thought a movie made by French people about a Mexican drug lord who is trans and it's a musical with really bad music would appeal to so many Oscar voters?
Yeah, people hate it.
What?
Oh, relax. It's part of the plan.
What plan?
A movie made by French people about a Mexican drug lord who's trans and it's a musical with really bad music? It's like if AI came up with a bad takes machine.
Bad takes?
You have a lot to learn. People who like art movies will sincerely enjoy it.
Possibly.
And the people who like shitting on bad movies will love shitting on it.
Best of both worlds.
It's both Morbius and Green Book wrapped into one.
Think of the takes.
The takes, I know. I'm seeing conservatives make 3-hour videos calling it a woke nightmare and liberals making 7.5-hour videos calling it a shallow misfire.
Is this the future?
What's going on?
The actress who plays Amelia Perez tweeted something racist a while ago.
Yes, even more drama.
Wait, won't this affect the Oscars race?
Racism? No.
I quit.
I quit also.
Okay, so a couple things, some thoughts. Some thoughts before we jump in. So, I just want to start off by saying that it absolutely fucking sucks that Karla Sofia Gascon is so racist. Is so racist to, like, you read the tweets and it's nothing but racism. It's not even a, like, attempt to be a joke. It's not even an attempt to be a joke that is racist. It is just pure racism. But it sucks because Karla Sofia Gascon became the first trans woman to be nominated for Best Actress. And love or hate Amelia Perez, prior to the Karla Sofia Gascon tweets, like, that is still, you know, it's a historic moment. I felt personally, I hate that the first trans woman to be nominated for Best Actress was Karla in Amelia Perez, because I despise this film. But I still recognize, like, okay, this, you know, of course, Hollywood is going to Hollywood. This is the film This is the trans film that they have decided to award, of course. Don't ever forget Crash winning Best Picture in 2006. But it still was like, okay, we did it, right? We did it. The first trans actress to be nominated for this category, you know, during a very, very tumultuous time for the trans community in the United States of America. And so, like I said, you know, love or hate Amelia Perez, it was still a historic moment. And now we have we have all of this. We have all of this, and I have seen tweets from trans people who are genuinely and rightfully so upset, very heartbroken that the first trans woman to be nominated for this category is a vile racist. And, you know, it's one of those where, you know, the entertainment industry is filled with horrible people, a lot of abusive, powerful men who continue to get to work and face, you know, really no repercussions. And so, of course, you know, actions are being like the way that the industry has swiftly turned on KARLA SOFIA GASCON, who deserves to be called out. Let me just say that, okay? Definitely deserves to be called out. Really wish that she had not been nominated, but it's how, of course, when it comes to who the industry and who the internet is very swift to condemn, it's a racist trans woman versus, you know, the just scores of abusive men who no one has, you know, like they still have their Oscars. They still are making movies. They're still around. All right. You have rapists, you have pedophiles, you have just abusive assholes. So I do think it's important to highlight that fact while, you know, recognizing that KARLA SOFIA GASCON is a terrible person, is just like point blank so racist that there is no excusing. There's no excusing what she did, but it is important to recognize who it is that we will make sure faces repercussions. You know? Some very dumb people are going to subconsciously shift their hate from her actions to her transness. Of course, you know, what always happens when you have a very visible member of the LGBTQ community, somebody who has, you know, who's a public figure, when it turns out that they're a piece of shit, because guess what? Humans are assholes. And whether you know, white, black, trans, it does not preclude you from being an awful person, but it is that the outsized attention and the way that it is used then to condemn a marginalized community, where KARLA SOFIA GASCON is not a representative of the trans community. Of course, it's the same thing when, like, you know, when a school shooter is LGBTQ, even though most of the school shooters are straight white young men. Of course, you know, young white men are not condemned overall, or not, like, school shooters are not seen as a representative young white men, but you have like one gay school shooter and the entire LGBTQ community must be condemned, that it's representative of every single person who's LGBTQ, which is terrible. And it's why, you know, it's why it particularly sucks when someone is from a marginalized community and is revealed to be a terrible person, because of the fallback, because of the fallout that the community overall will experience. So, yeah. Okay. Now, before the KARLA SOFIA GASCON tweets came out, there was already drama. And I'm not just talking about the fact that Amelia Perez got 13 Oscar nominations, that it tied for second place of films that have received the most Oscar nominations of all time. That it received more Oscar nominations than films like The Godfather, than great musicals like Cabaret. It even received more nominations than Wicked, which was a better musical than Amelia Perez. So I'm not even talking about that drama. I'm talking about what was happening between Carla Sofia Gascon and Fernanda Torres's orbit. So her fans, the people around Fernanda Torres. Gascon had spoken with she had spoken with a Brazilian newspaper called Folha de São Paulo, and she claimed without evidence that people in Fernanda Torres's orbit had been disparaging her and the film. She pissed off all of Brazil by saying without evidence, by claiming without evidence that, you know, the people in Fernanda Torres's orbit, and by that she was trying to go after Fernanda Torres, who is also nominated in the same category as her. Fernanda Torres, who is nominated for her role in I'm Still Here. And it was just like weird and awkward, and Fernanda Torres had shared a sweet message about running into Carla Sofia Gascon. And this came out like a couple days before KSG did the interview with the Brazilian newspaper. It's also like, why would you give that interview with a Brazilian newspaper? Do you know how excited Brazil is that Fernanda Torres has been nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars? Do you know how like it's like national celebrations? Girl, this is all in the PowerPoint. Oh, okay. Okay. It's all in the PowerPoint. So let's just get to the PowerPoint then. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself because I haven't looked at the PowerPoint yet, but I should have known that it's all in the PowerPoint. I'm sorry. I should have known. All right. Okay, let me switch to, let me put some media. Okay. I'm sorry, I know we've all been dying to talk about this. Yes. Yes. Background music a little too loud for headphone users. All right. You know what? I'll just turn that off. I will turn that off. Okay. Carla Sofia Gascon, the biggest crash out of all time. A timeline, aka a way to organize everything in chronological order instead of chat spamming links from all over the place. Continuously updated until Caroline has time to look at it. Links, sources are in each slide. Great. The music was a vibe. This is the duality of chat. Always people who are like, no, I can't do the music. And then others who are like, wait, no, I like the music as background. I like the background music. Okay, I'll put the background music on. I'll just keep it. I'll keep it low. I'll put my microphone up a little bit. Okay. Okay. January 29th, the first domino. Okay, this is exactly what I had been talking about. Chat, stop talking about capitalism. Have you not? Are we still talking about capitalism? You know what? Forget about this. Forget about this. Let's talk about capitalism. Let's do it. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's throw down. Let's throw down. Everything is capitalism, late stage capitalism. Let's, you know what? If that's what we want to talk about, that's what we will talk about. Just kidding. Okay, this might not seem relevant to what ends up happening, but trust me, it is. A video interview of Carla goes viral on Twitter of her accusing people working with lead actress competitor Fernanda Torres, orchestrating a smear campaign. All right, so here is here's the interview. Karla Sofia Gascon has violated the Academy's Oscar rules by accusing nominee Fernanda Torres' team of spreading hate against her and the cast of Amelia Perez during a Brazilian interview. That's like if you went to a high school with a bunch of white girls and went, you know what? I'm going to talk shit on Taylor Swift. Read the fucking room, okay? Know that you are saying these things in front of an audience that is going to be the least receptive to whatever comes out of your mouth. Especially it's like going in front of them and not just like, not like saying like, I don't know, like, okay, Beyonce won album of the year. Like I don't know, trying to do like Beyonce versus Taylor Swift drama, whatever.
LGBT hay personas maravillosas, pero seguramente también habrá quien no lo sea. Somos como cualquier otra persona.
Okay, I don't think this has English subtitles, but what she's talking about is how she's being targeted. What she's claiming without evidence is that there is a smear campaign against her. And she was careful enough. English translation is in the slide. Okay, thank you. She was careful enough to not explicitly say that it was Fernanda Torres, but she, by saying that it's her team, was doing so with the intent of hurting Fernanda Torres's chances of winning the Oscar. Which I feel like it must be said before we get into even more of this. Karla Sofia Gascon was not going to win that Oscar. Okay? Like before all of this has happened, I believed that Amelia Perez was going to win Oscars, but not for Karla Sofia Gascon. I'm sorry. I did not believe prior to this. I did not believe that she would be able to beat Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, and Fernanda Torres. I just truly, this was not her Oscar to lose. Let's be clear about that. So the fact that she was doing this shit is like, dude, if you were going to go after anyone, you probably should have gone after Demi Moore. Right? Like, I would say you should have gone after, in order, Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, then Fernanda Torres. She wasn't even the runner-up. She was not even the runner-up. Okay, so here's what she says in this interview. What I don't like are social media teams, people who work with these people trying to diminish our work, like me and my movie, because that doesn't lead anywhere. You don't need to tear down someone's work to highlight another's. I've never at any point said anything bad about Fernanda Torres or her movie. However, there are people working with Fernanda Torres tearing me and Amelia Perez down. That speaks more about their movie than mine. Girl, go after a good script if you want an Oscar. Like, here's the truth, okay? It's not Fernanda Torres's team who's tearing down Amelia Perez. It's the internet, okay? Like, fine, you want to say I'm on Fernanda Torres's team? Then I'm on Fernanda Torres's team. Because I've been tearing down Amelia Perez. So I guess that makes me part of Fernanda Torres's team. I think her going after Fernanda plays into the racism. Honestly, knowing what we know now, yes. You got soup? You got soup? What kind of soup did you get? Oh, you got pho. Okay, yeah, you need to rest. You need to rest. She's saying that Carla's team started a smear campaign against her. Lil Dashi, thank you for the 5 months. Love the Japan streams. Thank you. Glad you're home safe. Thank you for streaming for us tonight. Of course. Of course. Okay. So this is the community note. Nobody related to I'm Still Here has campaigned negativity towards Amelia Perez or Carla Sofia Gascon. Torres, in fact, asked for no hateful attacks against the film. Amelia Perez, however, was bad received by the Mexican audience. They're like, hey, there's actually a lot of people who hate this film. But I think you should look over here. I think you should listen. I think you should listen to the communities, like the trans community and Mexican viewers who are like, wow, this is really offensive, because they have been talking about this for quite some time. Yeah. And you know who has had smoke for them? Carla Sofia Gascon. Carla Sofia Gascon, who disparaged trans and Mexican critics of Amelia Perez, and then has the nerve to be like, it's Fernanda Torres' team who's coming after me. A useful community note has hell frozen over. You know, sometimes community notes get it right, and when they do, it is chef's kiss. What's her background? Carla Sofia Gascon is Spanish. She is from Spain. She achieved she came up doing comedy, and then she did this narco series called El Señor de los Cielos. But the thing that made her big time, that gained her widespread fame, was Amelia Perez. She came up doing Televisa telenovelas. Yeah. So she was like, she was working as an actress for years before Amelia Perez, but this is the project that made her a big name. All right. This led to accusations of KSG violating Oscar rules with her directly naming Fernanda Torres. Gascon clarified her statement by telling Variety, I am an enormous fan of Fernanda Torres, and it has been wonderful getting to know her the past few months. In my recent comments, I was referencing the toxicity and violent hate speech on social media that I sadly continue to experience. By the way, the toxicity are thoughtful film criticism from trans film critics and Mexican film critics. That's what she's referring to. And also, the toxicity, girl, the call is coming from inside the house. Fernanda has been a wonderful ally, and no one directly associated with her has been anything but supportive and hugely generous. Still, the damage was done. Gascon will soon find out what everyone online knows. Don't fuck with Brazilians. Okay. January 30th, morning, the tip of the iceberg. Tweets from as recent as 2023 began resurfacing, each worse than the last. So it is important to note that when there started to be chatter online about Carla Sofia Gascon racist tweets, you would assume that it was like, okay, 2015, maybe prior to that, like, tweets were resurfaced of Carla Sofia Gascon saying some not so great of things. No, these tweets are from all the way up to 2023. Okay, the year before Amelia Perez came out. That is what is especially crazy about this situation, is that she was just tweeting. She was just tweeting her face off. She was live reacting to the Oscars in like 2021, 2022, 2023 and just saying heinous shit. This isn't even something where you can be like, all right, well, it was 10 years ago. It's not great, but like, this is just another example of somebody who has recently become, more well-known, and turns out that they have some shitty tweets from like a decade ago. No, dude. This is from 2023. Okay? Like, she said these things with her full chest. So I need to give credit to Sarah Hagi. This is Sarah Hagi. Sarah Hagi is a journalist who is the one who really uncovered, and by uncovered, it wasn't that hard to uncover because these are from 2023, and it's kind of crazy that nobody had found them until Sarah was like, what is going on here? And started tweeting out Karla's tweets. Like, shout out to Sarah, of course. Shout out to Sarah, of course. And this interview she does is amazing. But what's like hilarious about it is that this wasn't even something that you had to go deep into internet history to find. This was not something that was like, this was not something that was difficult to obtain because of how recent the tweets were. But she was smart in that she started screenshotting all the tweets because she knew as soon as it went viral that Karla was going to start deleting stuff, and she did. And she ended up deactivating her socials. Yeah, person who that was the old me, person who used a slur yesterday. Like, I have changed. I am no longer the person who I was 5 minutes ago saying all these horrible things. I am different now. I am different. Okay, so Sarah Hagi, a Canadian-based journalist and co-host of the podcast Scamfluencers, uncovered the tweets and found herself at the center of the conversation. While visiting family in Southeast Asia, she followed her journalist instinct, researching Gascon's political leanings after noticing what she described as a dog whistle in a post. What she discovered was far worse than she anticipated. Tweets in Spanish ranging from anti-Muslim sentiment to outright bigotry, all of which had remained public and unchallenged, which is wild, but also is indicative of the fact that KARLA SOFIA GASCON did not achieve wide fame until Amelia Perez, so nobody was paying attention. But also crazy that we have made it this far in award season where nobody had uncovered her tweets from like a year ago. Nom Danette, thank you for the prime. Gascon has since deleted her Twitter X account and released a statement apologizing for her tweets. In an interview with Variety, Hagi discusses the backlash, the accusations of being a studio plant, and why she believes the Academy must act. Okay, let's find. I'm going to give you some examples of the tweets, okay? Where there's so many. There's so many, and they run they range from being deeply Islamophobic, deeply anti-Black, anti-Asian, just hating on diversity in general, just really anti-diversity. So one example from November 22nd, 2020. I'm sorry, is it just my impression, or are there more Muslims in Spain? Every time I go to pick up my daughter from school, there are more women with their hair covered and their skirts down to their heels. Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic. Ooh. Yeah. Another post from September 2nd, 2020, attached to a photo of a Muslim family in a restaurant, including a woman in a burqa, reads, Islam is marvelous, without any machismo. Women are respected, and when they are so respected, they are left with a little squared hole on their faces for their eyes to be visible and their mouths, but only if she behaves. Although they dress this way for their own enjoyment. How deeply disgusting of humanity. Oh, in a post from January 29, 2021, Gascon's account says that Islam fails to comply with international rights. God damn! And that the religions must be banned as long as it does not comply with DDHH, using an abbreviation for human rights in Spanish law. In a post from August 16th, 2021, Gascon writes, I am so sick of so much of this shit of Islam, of Christianity, of Catholicism. I guess she just like, okay, we're going after all religions, of all the fucking beliefs of morons that violate human rights. Like, the thing is, if Gascon had tweeted, I do not stand for religion being used as an excuse to violate people's human rights, sure. I think that's something that we should all be behind, right? I think that that is a sensible statement. Religion, when it is used, when it is, extremist religious beliefs being used to justify taking away rights from human beings, is not cool. That's bad. But the problem is that Gascon is a bigot. That she is not coming from that. She is not writing from that perspective. Along with her post about Islam, Gascon posted a long thread about George Floyd just days after he was killed by a police officer, inspiring protests across the U.S. I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug addict swindler, but his death has served to once again demonstrate that there are people who still consider black people to be monkeys, without rights, and consider policemen to be assassins. She posted, they're all wrong? Wait, what are you saying here? So you're saying that the people are you saying that people who consider black people to be monkeys without rights are wrong? Because yeah, that's bad. But also people who consider police to be assassins is what? How are you both siding? Like you hate both, but also you have horrible things to say about George Floyd, who was murdered. In a follow-up post, Gascon added, too many things to reflect on regarding the behavior of our species every time an event occurs. Perhaps it is no longer a question of racism, but of social classes that feel threatened by each other. Maybe that's the only real difference. She said racism doesn't exist. She also weighed in on the Oscar ceremony from 2021, the first held following the COVID pandemic, in which Nomadland won Best Picture. Nomadland, who, don't forget, was directed by Chloe Zhao. She was only the second woman to win Best Director at the Oscars. Ambush, thank you so much. Thank you for the raid. I hope you're having a great time in Japan. I'm assuming you're still there, but hope you're having a great time. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. I am currently covering the KARLA SOFIA GASCON crash out, the Oscars controversy of 2025. KARLA SOFIA GASCON, who stars in the film Emilia Perez, which is the most nominated film this year, the Oscars, which are going to be taking place in March. And Emilia Perez, which was already a controversial film prior to KARLA SOFIA GASCON, the lead of the film, being revealed to be deeply racist, and all of these really, really horrible tweets being uncovered in the last couple weeks, and the fallout that has happened with this film. Indirin, thank you for the tier 1. Okay. Chloe was also the first, she was the first Asian woman to win Best Director, which again is not very, is like a big, but also like only one other woman had won. So, there's a lot of firsts there still to happen. A lot of firsts. Okay. 2021 was also, I think she's tweeting about this because this is the year that Minari, which is a film that was directed by Lee Isaac Chung. Minari was nominated at the Oscars. Minari, which is about a Korean American family who moves to a farm in Arkansas in search of the American dream, starring Stephen Yeun and Yoon Ye-jung, who won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar. I think she was the first Korean actress to win Best Supporting Actress. She's like, there's only a handful of Asians who have won Oscars for acting awards in the first place. So like, it was, another historic moment, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what Karla had to say about it. More and more, the hashtag Oscars are looking like a ceremony for independent and protest films. I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, which, first of all, that sounds amazing. An Afro-Korean festival? Sign me up. A Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M, Gascon wrote. Apart from that, an ugly, ugly gala. So clearly she was not happy that Minari won an Oscar. She was not happy that Chadwick Boseman, I think that was the year that he 2021. Yeah. 2021 was when Chadwick won. No, he didn't win. No, he didn't even win. Anthony Hopkins won for the father. Right, but it was like oh my god. Okay, right, because remember how awkward the 2021 ceremony was? So this was like the COVID Oscars, where it was very, very small, right, because of the pandemic, and it was the year after Chadwick Boseman had sadly passed away. And so they moved the Best Actor category to be the last award presented, when normally it is Best Picture. And that is because the thinking was that Chadwick Boseman was going to receive, an Oscar for his role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, a posthumous Oscar. Anthony Hopkins was not even at that Oscars. He was asleep in the UK, but he ended up winning for The Father, and it was just like a very short ending to the show. It was very awkward. Yes, it was very awkward. That was when Daniel Kaluuya won for, oh, right. Okay, so Daniel Kaluuya won for Judas and the Black Messiah. So that also is probably what pissed off Karla Sofia Gascon. Just the fact that there were Korean actors, that there were Black actors who were nominated and even managed to win awards was too much. KSG was like, excuse me, is this an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M? I thought this was supposed to be the Oscars. You just know that Karla Sofia Gascon did not support the hashtag Oscars so white hashtag back in 2016. After 2016, when all 20 of the Oscar nominations in the acting categories were for white performers, and it was the second year in a row, Karla Sofia Gascon was like, Oscars so white, not white enough. Not white enough. Appears out of nowhere, stars in worst movie of all time, wins 97 awards, praises Hitler, releases worst statement of all time, never makes a movie you're seen in public again after Full House clean, sweeping the Oscars, demonic beast mode career speed run. Oh yeah, there were tweets of her basically being like, maybe Hitler wasn't like totally Okay, here's another tweet from August 2020. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she tweeted, the Chinese vaccine, apart from the mandatory chip, comes with 2 spring rolls, a cat that moves its hand, 2 plastic flowers, a pop-up lantern, 3 telephone lines, and €1 for your first controlled purchase. Girl, this is what I mean by the tweets are not even like, they're not even bad jokes, right? Where it's like, okay, she's no, like it's so blatantly racist. They're just bad. It's just so bad. Another tweet from February 2020 similarly takes aim at China, reading, so many scientists in the world making bombs, so many scholars constructing objects for space, so many medicinal factories, and there's no one who can get in line with this Chinese shit. Shrug emoji. In the end, it was a tremendous show for a new variant of the flu, avian, or coronavirus. So I'm guessing she was a fan of Donald Trump calling it the Kung Flu. Yep. Okay, so back to the interview with Sarah Hagi. You know what? She is racist in that very European way. Carla Sofia Gascon reminding you that she is European. All right, so what prompted you to investigate Carla Sofia Gascon's social media history? I wasn't paying much attention to her at first, but I'm naturally curious, especially when it comes to public figures and their politics. I saw a tweet in which she used the word Islamist, which I found intense. It wasn't a conspiracy. I do this with many celebrities. I just searched a term and what I found was shocking. There's been speculation that you were part of a smear campaign, essentially a studio plant digging up dirt on behalf of a competitor. What do you say to that? It's very funny because if you know Sarah Hagi, like if you know her work, if you follow her on Twitter, it is hilarious to think that Sarah Hagi was a studio plant. LOL. No. Absolutely not. I'm not a studio plant. I'm just a person. The idea that a studio would pick me, someone who doesn't even have TikTok, is hilarious. This was a total fluke. Also, someone who has like smoke for everybody, and rightfully so. Like, this is not somebody who is a person who would not have like the studios would not look at someone like Sarah Hagi and be like, ooh, you know what? That's who we're going to hire. You've been open about identifying as a Black Muslim. How did that shape your reaction to what you uncovered? It's fair to say that it was triggering. I could have looked and there would be nothing, but it was just a hunch. It doesn't mean that someone who said something like that is going to have as many racist tweets as she did or as many anti-Muslim tweets as she did. When you have an experience like I do, you know what the dog whistles are, and to me, that was a very clear dog whistle. So was it as simple as searching a keyword and everything was just there? Yeah, I mean, at this point, it was Wednesday evening for me. I don't remember the exact time, but I figured I would post the tweets the following morning because I didn't think they'd gain traction, but I wanted them to gain traction. It was as simple as searching one word, and from there, I followed extra keywords, especially in Spanish, since that's the language she tweets in. I searched terms like Islam, Muslims in Spanish, hijab, and anything that might bring up relevant results. And when I typed in those words, those tweets had barely any engagement, maybe a couple hundred views in total, 1 or 2 likes at most. There was zero traction even when she initially tweeted them. This wasn't some viral controversy waiting to resurface. She had tweeted these things and they had existed online unchallenged from 2016 to 2023. There was no pushback, no visibility. This was just how she was casually tweeting. It wasn't some deep dive or orchestrated effort. It was all just there. This is what I said, where I was like, kudos to Sarah, because Sarah's the one who uncovered this, right? But she's saying the exact same thing I said, where it's like, this didn't require some serious sleuthing. This wasn't some like hard cutting investigative journalism. The tweets were just there, and there were so many of them, and they were all the way up to 2023, the year before Amelia Perez came out. Like, they were just sitting there. People need to stop using Twitter as their racist diary. Do you know what's amazing? Do you know what is incredible? How many times now has this happened that a public figure, be it an influencer, an actor, a politician, whatever, has their racist tweets uncovered? And every time people be like, wow, crazy that people still don't delete their tweets. Crazy that people still use Twitter as like a racist diary. And yet it continues to happen. And on the one hand, it's like, okay, it's good. It's good that we know how these people, who they really are. But on the other hand, it is kind of nuts that people who are clearly such open racists, like Carla Sofia Gascon, don't think to themselves, you know what? Maybe I should go... Maybe I should delete the tweets. And I think it's because like it doesn't register to them that they're fucking racist. Like, that's why they tweet that stuff. They're not like, oh yeah, I'm a racist, so that's why I'm tweeting this. They're like, I'm speaking truth. What I'm saying is true. But you would still think that, like, as somebody who now has a spotlight on them, who has, a ton of attention that's being put on them because they're in the most nominated film of the year and one that's already garnered controversy, that they would just, like, delete their social media to be safe. I don't know. I guess not. I'm sorry, but where's the PR person for the movie not checking all the actors' socials and forcing them to clean that shit up once you hire them? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there are people who have probably been fired, that there have been meetings at, like, Netflix, that, Karla's team, that it's just been, like, code red. It's been code red for the last 2 weeks, and it's like, how did nobody know? Why was nobody checking on any of this? I swear it's just hubris. It's truly the belief that they can get away with it since they perpetuate racism, that it's this normalized thing that if they speak out on it, people will agree and defend them. Yeah, wouldn't that mean she was actively tweeting these things during filming, at least the most recent ones? Yes. If she was tweeting in 2023, then she was filming Amelia Perez. Absolutely. I think maybe the tweets only go up to 2023 because she got busy promoting the film. Like, she didn't just have all this time to sit there and racistly live tweet the Oscars. She got busy. Girl was booked and busy. She was too busy to be racist on Maine. She was too busy to be racist on Maine. That's crazy. That's crazy. Will Neff, thank you for the coat raid, everybody. Welcome in. Commander Kai, thank you for the 3 months. Andy, thank you for the 18 months. Femboy, thank you for the tier 1. Preston, thank you for the 8 months. Indy Rin, thank you for the tier 1. Thank you. Hello, Raiders. Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. We're talking about KARLA SOFIA GASCON's racist tweets. So get seated. Femboy Mao. Femboy Mao. Thank you. Thank you for the 20 community subs. Appreciate you. Appreciate ya. All right, so for those of you who are just joining, Femboy has been going off tonight. We love femboys. We do. Okay, so what we are currently covering is the KARLA SOFIA GASCON Oscars controversy. Because it's not an Oscars without an insane controversy. And this one really feels in a league of its own. This is coming on top of the controversy of the film itself, which we will get to Jacques Audiard's comments on all of this in just a moment. But this was not like it was a film that was not already embroiled in controversy, that didn't already have a lot of people being like, this fuck-ass movie. And this really is just the cherry on top of what has been just a crazy Oscars season so far. Not in a good way, though. Not in a good way. All right. Low Brian, thank you for the gifted sub. Okay, so... Oh my God, why is there... Will! Will! What? Why is there so much water under my... What's happening? Oh, all my shit is flooded. Where is this coming from? Oh my God! What is happening? Oh my God! There's so much water beneath my desk. Is it raining outside? Yes. Oh my God! There's so much water. Babe, all of my electronics are in it. There's like... I'm dealing with it. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh no, I have PTSD the last time this happened. Oh god, the PC. Oh god. Oh Jesus.
Where's the...
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Where's the broom?
I don't know, but this is happening right now. Oh, I cannot see. Oh, okay. Okay. Fuck. I don't okay. I didn't realize it was raining so much outside.
I don't know where our broom is.
Shit. We need to get the suction. Okay. All right. So the PC is safe. Fuck. Okay. Let me get towels. Do you think I should just end the stream? All right. You guys, I think it's over. Fuck. I think I have to go. My OBS is like looking cooked right now anyway. I'm so sorry. This fucking sucks. I guess it's been raining outside, and so I just looked down and there's water everywhere. I'm sorry. But I am gonna go deal with this. This fucking sucks. I'll raid Christian. God damn it. Okay. All right. So pissed. I'm so fucking sick of this place. All right. Let me send you guys over. I can't even, my OBS is like completely cooked. Mods, can you like make sure the raid goes through? Okay. I will see you guys later. Sorry that we will have to continue this another day, but anyway, goodbye. I'm going to go deal with this, and au revoir. Au revoir. I can't even stop the stream right now.